college football tonight. It's back. I'm back. We're back. Iraq.
It's a good slate tonight.
It's a good slate tonight. I know. It's great Thursday slate, great Friday slate. Got a great show set up today, and I'm super, super excited. We're going to break everything down. We're going to give you our keys to victory, and we're going to take 4 bets.
Cone,
4 bets apiece tonight.
Feed me the pill, Cone.
And guys, I did write my speech.
Did you?
You
wrote your speech?
I did.
Is that official?
It's official.
There's no recount situation?
There's no hanging Chad.
I feel like there's a hanging
Chad in the back running the prompter.
There's a hanging Chad.
I feel like that's not fair to Chad, first of all. And second of all, I mean, congrats, bro.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Hall of Fame quarterback Brett Favre joins to preview football season. Enough said. I'm going to say nothing else. I'm Jake Crane. It's Thursday. Welcome to Crane & Company. All right, guys, we're about to bring Brett Favre in here in 1 second. I do really quickly. We're going to get into keys to victory. We're going to break down Penn State, Purdue, obviously the backyard brawl with West Virginia. Penn State, Purdue, West Virginia, and Pittsburgh as well. But let's go ahead and bring in Hall of Famer, one of my favorite guys to watch. As a Packers fan in the state of Alabama, I felt like I was on an island, but this guy helped Tom Hanks castaway me back home. That's cool. Brett Favre, former Packers, Vikings, and Southern Miss Eagle. I got to show Southern Miss some love. Brett, I appreciate you hopping on, man.
Not a problem.
Definitely. Well, doing good, man. I got to tell you before we start, we played down in the Senior Bowl Charity Classic with you as well. Saw the swing. A lot of good things in the golf swing, man. How's your game right now?
Sucks.
Well, welcome to the team. That's good to hear. That makes me feel better. But, Brett, I appreciate you getting on this early. I want to start. You're a guy that obviously played with a lot of passion. It was obviously very important to you. The quarterback position we know is the most important position on the field. What is the one ingredient in the recipe that separates good from great at that position? If you had to pick one, I know there's multiple, but which one stands out to you the most?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's such a tough question to answer because I think when it all, I'll give you a good example from a guy who I have a tremendous amount of respect for, and that's Ron Wolf, who stuck his neck out there for me, made the trade with Atlanta to bring me into Green Bay. And he and I were talking several years ago, just about the new crop of quarterbacks. I asked him if he kept up with. We're both retired. He lives down in Florida, and we talk pretty occasionally, and not really the football in general, but like he'll say, "Hey, what do you think about such and such?" Or "What do you think about this?" Or "Did you hear about this player or whatever, what's your take on this quarterback?" Well, we were talking about the combine, and I said, yeah, it's funny how numbers come into play these days, especially combine. Boy, his shuttle score was this, his broad jump was this. He benched 225 25 times. Ron Wolf kind of laughed and he said, all I wanted to know when it was all said and done is, can he win? Is he believable in the huddle? Do you feel as a fan or as a teammate or as an administrator or as a coach, when that guy is on the field, you got a good chance to win? And to me, that's and a lot of things have to go into that being the case. You got to be able to throw, you got to be able to be accurate, you got to be tough, you got to be savvy mentally. There's a lot of things that go into good gumbo, as an example. But the bottom line is, can the guy win games for you? So that's the most important one.
For sure. Well, my dad coached linebackers forever and used to say, they said, oh, this guy runs 4.5. He's like, well, playing middle linebacker, if you got to run 40 yards to catch somebody, I don't want your ass. That's not what the position entails. But, Brett, too, you look at the way offenses keep on evolving, and everything's cyclical. 30 years from now, everybody will be running the triple option again. But when you look at these up-tempo, fast-paced offense, it's really just a 2-minute drill with a little more on the menu. Is that something that would have intrigued you more as a player, or were you kind of more comfortable with the balance tempo, being able to change it? I mean, you look at Tennessee and Josh Heupel. I mean, they go faster than a NASCAR race. Kind of across the country, it's been something that everybody has added. Just your thoughts on the pace of play on offenses now, even in the NFL.
Yeah, I think offenses in general, college and NFL, are way more advanced or ahead of the game as opposed to the defense. Now, at some point, that'll change, and that may happen, or may only happen once they change the rules and to where it favors defense. But it's all about scoring. Yeah. As a fan, do you want to see 3-0, 7-6? No. So it's all about shootouts, and so anything rule related. That certainly the NFL can do. I mean, and they've done that. It's favorable to the offense. I mean, you even look at a quarterback funny, you get a flag.
So true.
You even think about putting your hands on a receiver, pass interference. I would have enjoyed playing in the up. How could you not want to play it? Yeah. I mean, that doesn't mean I would have been successful in it, but as a player, especially a quarterback, how could you not want to play in a pass-happy, up-tempo, run a ton of plays in a game type of atmosphere?
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Well, as the only defensive guy on set with a quarterback and a wide receiver, it warms my heart in ways, Brett, I can never explain to you that Brett Favre just said that the defense is at a disadvantage. I don't want to hear a word from either one of you about the rules or anything like that where it's even. But anyway, go ahead.
Holding.
Yeah. Brett, the first Super Bowl I remember watching was when you and the Packers beat the Patriots. We all know about the consecutive start streaks, but honestly, when I hear the name Brett Favre, I think of December 22nd, 2003, Monday Night Football. Your father had passed the day before. I wouldn't have been the quarterback I was or the man I am without my father's influence. These guys' dad was an All-American, taught y'all defensive schemes at age 4, something like that. You went for 399 and 4 touchdowns that night. Was that the greatest football you ever played in your life?
There's no question about it. At halftime, I'd had, and the game is not about statistics when it's all said and done. I mean, to a certain degree, you're kind of judged on your statistics, but in regards to statistics, that game at halftime, I had better statistics than at any point in my career after 4 quarters.
Wow.
So just from that standpoint, yeah. And then when you throw in the circumstances, it was very difficult circumstances, as you would expect, but there was a sort of peace, and I'll explain that. The peace part came from, I got 2 brothers and a sister, and when I was actually playing in the game, they were having to be home dealing with the issues, making arrangements and so on and so forth. I had a team that was relying on me, that was rallying around me. In fact, I had if you want to call it an even bigger team, the attendance, primarily Oakland fans, gave me a standing ovation. I mean, it was just not that I obviously would have wanted circumstances to be much different, but based on what had happened and what I was trying to accomplish, I couldn't have asked for a better response from my teammates, from the opposing fans. So it was very difficult, but in a weird sort of way, it was comforting based on what I had to deal with, and then reality hit when I was flying home and having to deal with that. But yes, by far, considering the circumstances and statistically speaking, best game ever.
Yeah, it was one of the most incredible performances I've ever seen. I want to go to your Southern Miss days. My mom's a Southern Miss alum. College football looks a lot different now with name, image, and likeness deals. You got the transfer portal, conference realignment. I mean, if you were in charge of college football, what are some changes that you would make or that you would like to see done in the game?
Well, I think parity is a forgotten thing. In the NFL, at one point, parity was non-existent, and in Major League Baseball, it was non-existent. It's at one point, but now in the NFL, you can be Detroit or Jacksonville, small market, Green Bay for that matter. In fact, Green Bay, the population in the city limits is roughly 75 to 125,000, but yet they showed a bigger profit than any team, I think, in the National Football League this past year. But I think at some point, if you're an Alabama fan, you got to be loving the state of college athletics.
Yeah.
There's probably 10 teams that could honestly say, I'm pleased with the way the NCAA athletic structure is the present structure. But at some point, you're just going to have a 5 to 10 team league and everyone else. And you really have that now, to be honest with you. I think what would make, and it would take a little bit of time, but I think what would make the college athletics structure much better is divide the TV money up evenly. Now, we shouldn't get Alabama's gate money. I mean, they sell out everything. But I do think to even the playing field somewhat, you got to give money to some of the schools. Southern Miss athletic budget. I think 2 years ago the TV contract that we received for Conference USA TV money 2 years ago was roughly $250,000. Now, that's a joke compared to any SEC team. 65, 75 million, anywhere between 50 to 100 million per team. How are we supposed to compete with that? Well, if you're an Alabama fan, you go, that ain't our problem. And it's not. But if you're asking how the parity or how the structure can be better, you got to help out the teams that are hanging on by a thread.
Yep.
Yeah. Brett, just a couple more for you. Like I said, I appreciate you joining us this morning. Blaine, going to get to you here in the Booster Club. Real quick, question just hit me. You're making your college choice. You got a guy like Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss that has one style, the way he handles quarterbacks, and guys like Nick Saban who are kind of a little bit different. If you were coming out of high school right now, it may be an impossible question to answer. Would you rather play for a Lane Kiffin style system or a Nick Saban style system?
Well, I'll tell you, when I came out, it was 47 years ago. My choice was the easiest choice you could ever have in regards to picking a school. I picked the one school that offered me a scholarship, and I say that because I'm extremely thankful. And if I had to do over again, knowing now what the end result, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
And I guess my point is, I don't know the right answer to that, but I know the best way I can explain it is, my mom and dad went to Southern Miss. My dad played baseball at Southern Miss. The previous several years prior to graduating high school, my dad would take me up to go watch Reggie Collier play, and I fell in love with Reggie. I mean, what a tremendous college football player he was. And, I would have loved to have played there. But had I been offered by other schools, Alabama, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, LSU, Auburn, Tennessee, just say I'm offered by all those schools, including Southern Miss, I think, and I don't know for certain, but I would bet that I would have chose another school for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
How many times they're on TV, how cool their uniforms are. They sell out every game. Wow, Alabama's offered me a scholarship. And then we may not be having this conversation right now.
That's a good point.
So I think in choosing a school, and when I coached high school several years ago here at Oak Grove High School, that we had a lot of kids that were getting offers in a lot of places. And my daughter's another example. Our youngest daughter was getting recruited for indoor volleyball and was offered by a lot of schools. And I've told them all, you got a problem that I never had, and that is choices. Choose wisely. Don't choose because the color of their uniforms or they're on TV a bunch, or you may have a chance to win a national championship. Granted, that's a good reason to choose. You choose where you think you can play the quickest and play the most. If it's about playing.
For sure.
You know, if it's about what type, the coolest helmet, then that's a different thing. You know, who wears the coolest shoes, the most expensive shoes? That's if that's your preference, so be it. But I think you choose where you think you can play and play the most and play the quickest. That would be my opinion.
I love that answer.
All right, I'm going to go straight to the Booster Club here. Let's start with Mike. Question for you, Mr. Favre. Was there a quarterback that you watched that really helped craft your style of play growing up?
I've said this all along, and I mean it 100%. There was two guys in professional football that I really, when I went out in the yard and played after watching a Sunday football game, I was emulating Roger Staubach and Archie Manning, running around, making stuff happen, using your feet, using your legs, extending plays, making a crazy throw. So, yeah, those were the two guys that I modeled my game after.
Love it, Art. We got Travis Elrod here. He says, outside of Lambeau Field, what was your favorite place to play in the NFL?
You know, I've been asked that question a lot of times, and I don't know if I have one particular answer. I'll say it the best way I can explain it, and this is true. I love playing everywhere. You know, playing at the Vet in Philadelphia was not the greatest turf, but and the fans were just ridiculously terrible. But that added to the mystique, you know. So I kind of soaked it all in.
Definitely. Well, Brett, we really appreciate your time, man. Thanks for everything you gave to the game that we love, and I know it gave you a lot back as well. We really appreciate your time. And as a guy that hunts as much as you do, I'm sure getting up this early ain't a problem.
Hey, we're getting close to waking up with a little crisp morning. You don't have to worry about sweating your butt off. I mean, this has been awful.
Yeah,
for sure.
One thing about the summer and the humidity, it makes you look forward to hunting season.
That's exactly right. Hunting season and football season. Like I said,
falls,
give the kids
baby.
Christmas.
Yeah.
You can have Easter. Give me this. This is what I want.
Yeah.
Brett, really appreciate it, brother.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. Good talking with you guys.
You too.
Yes, sir. All right, well, that was Brett Favre. That's
happened.
one of the top 3 coolest things that's ever happened. How about the Booster Club? Getting to ask some questions to Brett Favre.
Wow.
I mean, come on, let's be realistic.
Where else are you doing that?
It's the gunslinger. No, nowhere. That's the real question. We got Rusty Mansell going to come in and break down the Georgia-Oregon game here in about 14, 15 minutes. But I want to get into some keys to victory for tonight. I'm going to go ahead and get there, Cone. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to talk about it. We're taking 4 bets tonight. I'm glad no more NBA, no NHL. We'll talk a little MLB, but let's get into the real thing here.
Okay. Where you want to start? Penn State at Purdue?
Let's do it. Let's go Penn State at Purdue.
Go ahead.
And first games are always interesting, right?
Yes.
The hardest weeks to bet in college football are week 0, which is not a real thing, and week 1, which is a real thing and should replace week 0. Because, again, you really don't know. Even teams that are returning guys, you really don't know. So when I look at Penn State and Purdue and I look at the identities, we know Purdue is going to try and throw the ball all around the yard. They're going to try and throw it the whole game. Penn State does have an experienced secondary, Joey Porter Jr. They have guys back there that understand it, but I just have a hard time believing, even without having, you know, a big Rondell Moore or David Bell at Purdue, they're good enough in that system. They've recruited well enough, and they've got a good enough rapport with Aiden O'Connell. Love the tight end. I think Purdue's going to be able to score points. I know Penn State's the favorite. By the way, I think Penn State's played on a road game, their first game, like the past 7 years.
Is that right?
Something like that. Yeah, James Franklin was talking about it the other day, which is absolutely wild. I like Purdue in this game. I've liked them since it came out. I think they're going to win the Big Ten West. You have a blackout at home, first game of the year. Going to be very interesting to see how it's officiated. the pace of play. Think Purdue's going to go fast, try and catch that secondary in base, because you go fast to catch the defense in base. You don't go fast just to get people tired. Yeah, that's one of the best side effects of it, but it's easier to diagnose when I'm going fast. You don't have a ton of time to check. Like, for example, I come out in trips, right? 3x1. All right, you can trips open, however you want to call it. All right, because we know trips close is 3 wide receivers with a tight end locked on the backside of the line of scrimmage. But trips open, you got a couple checks to trips. Now, you'll add stuff coverage-wise throughout the year to mix it up, because a lot of people go trips on third down. But everybody goes trips to throw the ball to the solo side, really, most of the time. But when you have the couple trips checks and we're going fast and we line up in trips, I know you're probably going to default to your base trips check to be able to get it in and make sure everybody's covered up. Well, if I know that, I know how you're going to cover me. So that's really the main reason people go fast. I like Purdue. You got 2 quarterbacks that are 6-year seniors. I mean, going into 12 years of experience. I mean, the guy's basically about to be a branch manager if they were there for another year. I think Purdue scores enough points. Guys, I think this game is going to be high scoring, but the key for Purdue is having somewhat of a run game. You have to have a semblance of balance to help you with the pass, because if Penn State does get in a rhythm and they know you can't run and they can umbrella you, it's going to take away the explosive plays down the field that Purdue can set up with the run and the intermediate to short passing game. So to me, it's not how well can Purdue throw it. I know Aiden can throw it. I know the system works with Jeff Brom. Like I said, he's Bobby Petrino without the motorcycle. But they have got to be able to run the ball somewhat effectively to be able to maximize how good they are offensively this game.
Blaine, I mean, no David Bell, no Jahan Dotson, 2 of the top wide receivers. Is that where you're going with this?
Well, this is, the more I look at this game, this is more of me not believing in Sean Clifford.
Really?
Yeah, to beat
not believing in him what?
Him be able to throw the ball well enough to beat Purdue.
Okay.
You look at O'Connell. I mean, you get 2 wide receivers transferred in from Iowa who are both solid there. They kind of won in the transfer portal, but I don't think Penn State will score enough to win this game. I have the under this game at 53.5. I feel like the defensive line, you got to be able to run the ball if you're Purdue. If not, the pass rush for Penn State is somewhat serious and can somewhat get there. But to me, it's about a line of scrimmage and a battle of quarterbacks. I feel like Purdue's going to be good enough up front. They'll be able to spread the field good enough to really move down the field on Penn State. And I don't believe in Sean Clifford enough. You lose a guy like Jahan Dotson, who's an absolute just please get me out of trouble anytime. I'm just a better athlete than anybody who's on that side of the field type of guy. But I'm going with O'Connell in this game because of the high tempo. I think they're going to be able to run the ball to a certain extent. And I don't believe in Sean Clifford. I don't care if it's his 13th year there. He really hasn't made huge strides. He makes big mistakes in big moments. And I think, well, Purdue's a dog in this game, and I'm taking Purdue minus 2.5.
Yeah, it's the plus money odds. I do want to say, remember, James Franklin hadn't been without Brent Pry, who took the Virginia Tech job after Fuente left. So they bring in Manny Diaz. And let's all remember, guys, what does Manny Diaz like to do? He likes to dial up pressure. Well, when you dial up pressure, you're typically going to be in man.
Yeah.
All right, that's what you're going to be in. So if Manny's going to take a lot of chances, they better get there because Aiden knows how to throw the hot. And if you're able to throw the hot the whole time and Manny's got to sit back and can't do what he does, you're going to see a lot of third down conversions from Purdue as well.
Does Sean Clifford not get enough credit? I mean, Blaine's saying he makes a lot of mistakes. He makes a lot of big plays.
He does.
I know he had Jahan Dotson.
Yep.
But
Parker Washington's a good player.
Okay, I mean, he's still a gamer.
Yeah.
This kid can play. I mean, he's going into a hostile environment. Do we not give him enough credit?
Yeah, I think a lot of it with Clifford, and last year, if he didn't get hurt during the Iowa game, I think they beat Iowa. But look, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas.
We would.
I think for Penn State, the key, and it's looking offensively, because there is no Jahan Dotson, and Jahan was the fixer. He was the guy when it all broke down and Sean did have to create, because I think Sean's a little better improvisationally than he gets credit for.
For sure.
I think he moves around a little bit better.
A little Favre-ish.
A little Favre-ish. He's not afraid to try and make the throw or thread the needle. But kind of like Wan'Dale Robinson was Will Levis's bailout guy, let's pull the parachute and find him. That's what Jahan Dotson was for Sean Clifford. But I think with Sean Clifford, you got to get him a lot of easy throws, because you can't just rely on Sean Clifford to go out there and beat somebody single-handedly consistently throughout the year. Can he do it in a couple games? Yes. But when Sean Clifford gets in trouble, it's typically the same as when other quarterbacks that aren't just statues get in trouble. They get outside the pocket, or the play breaks down and they throw back across their body, or they do something that's outside of what they're coached to do. I will judge Sean Clifford by how many good throwaways he has tonight and how many checkdowns
I like that. I like that. I'll tell you why I'm really excited for this game. First of all, Thursday night matchup. We get to watch it in its entirety. It gets a spotlight. It doesn't get lost in the Saturday slate. Why I'm really excited about this is because we talk about the Big Ten West and the Big Ten East a lot and the sort of the imbalance of power there. I like the fact that one of the a solid staple team, Penn State, in the Big Ten East, is going to a night game at Purdue early. So we can figure out what's what, and then just a few weeks later, Penn State comes down to Auburn. That sort of stuff, the conference, the non-conference games that you get in college basketball, even though anything before Christmas sort of doesn't count a lot, you at least get a sample size of what's going on nationally. I like that in football as well. So that gives us a chance to see. I mean, if Penn State goes into Purdue and beats them by 10 and then comes down to Auburn and loses by 10, that's going to start to tell us a lot of different things early in the season as it relates to different conference strengths.
It's the transitive.
I'd be really interested in this game when it comes to Manny Diaz. Do you think he's going to dial up a lot of blitzes? Is he getting a lot of pressure? Because, I mean, you go back and look at that Purdue team last year. I know they had big-time players that can hit big-time plays. If you limit Purdue big plays in this game, you have a chance. If I'm Penn State, I can't get down 10 in this game. I can't get down 13. Yeah. Penn State does not need to play catch-up in this game. If Penn State can run the ball, obviously they'll have a better chance. But limiting Purdue's big plays I think is going to be a huge factor for Penn State.
Well, if Manny does switch it up and say, you know what, we want to keep everything in front, it's going to test the patience of Jeff Brom and Aiden O'Connell. Because I've said on this show a million times, the greediest people on the planet are quarterbacks and offensive coordinators. Most of them want to take a shot eventually. They always say, you know what, you never go broke making a profit, or if you're going to give me that, we're going to take it. Well, that works for about 4 plays, and you've got 6 yards of play. And you're like, man, that corner's creeping up. Let's take the shot. It's a trap. That's what they want you to do. I just have a hard time believing Manny Diaz doesn't go in there and saying, listen, we cannot let Aiden O'Connell sit back there, and he knows the offense like the back of his hand. They're not going to do anything that fools Aiden O'Connell. The guy's a 6-year senior. There's not a coverage he hasn't seen. There's not a blitz he hasn't seen. There's not a run check he hasn't had to make, or change the slide, or check the protection. So you're not gonna confuse them, really. So what do you have to try and do? You have to throw off his timing and his rhythm. What do they say on Cool Runnings? 1 for the rhythm, 1 for the rhyme. Come on, guys. It's bobsled time. That's what you have to try and do to Aiden O'Connell. You got to try and speed him up and then slow him down. Speed him up, slow him down. Show pressure, not bring it. But if you start tipping your hand early and he does throw the hot, those short plays are going to turn into big plays, because tackling in space is one of the hardest things to do in football in general.
No, I love it.
Let's get to the Booster Club real quick. After Rusty, we'll go.
Okay, all right. Question from Devin21, hashtag Ask Crane Cove. Penn State loses tonight. Do you think that will affect Auburn's chances to beat them in Jordan-Hare?
I mean, look, everything always affects everything. It's always kind of a yo-yo effect. I don't think it's going to be the determining factor. If you're Auburn, you want Penn State to win. You want them to come in not pissed off about a loss or having to go back and have a super hard week of practice because you got to turn the season around, and now James Franklin's freaking out and can't look over and use USC as leverage anymore because Lincoln's flying jets and hanging out with Jennifer Aniston and Ben Affleck and stuff now. But if you're Auburn, you want Penn State to win because that looks like a better win on your resume. Yeah. If you're Brian Harsin, you're cheering for Penn State tonight. That's just the truth.
Yeah. All right, Emmanuel C. says, I really like Cohn's take on Purdue's chances to make the college football playoff. Purdue can run the table in the West, and all you need to do is win the Big Ten championship game, and you will be in. It will be a tall task, but you think they can do it?
Yeah. Cohn, I'll say this. If you look at Purdue's schedule, they win this game. Let's just play the hypothetical, okay? Let's say they run the table this regular season, and then they lose to Ohio State
or
in
Michigan.
The Big Ten championship, or Michigan, or Michigan State.
Yeah.
I still think there's a path. I mean, if it works out right, where Purdue could make the playoff at 11-1.
You think so?
I mean, think about it though. You go undefeated.
Off a conference loss.
You go undefeated, and your only loss is to Ohio State. Let's say Ohio State goes undefeated. They'll be what, number 2 in the country, behind Alabama? So you're telling me, if we're going to look at the resume, that an 11-1 Purdue team that loses to the number 2 team in the country doesn't have a good shot at making the playoff. Now, it's going to depend on what happens with Georgia, because if you have Alabama and Georgia,
might have a one-loss Clemson.
That's exactly. Utah is hanging out there too. So, man, it's going to get interesting. I'm just excited to see it. We're going to get back to the Booster Club. Get ready to ask Rusty Mansell some questions. Speaking of our good friend, Rusty Mansell, must be football season, 247, CBS. A little bit of everything. Rusty's everywhere, man. He's like Sputnik, just out there just roaming around. So, Rusty, what's up, brother? That's not a year-old joke either.
Let me tell you what. If you would have told me I was going to follow Brett Favre on an interview like 20 years ago, I would have thought we had a really bad night in Panama City together. That was the only way that would have happened. I mean, I'm sitting here fangirling, watching y'all interview Brett Favre. That was a hell of an interview, man. That guy. Man, he's on the pulse of things, but that was awesome. You guys.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. I almost texted you this morning, but I wanted it to be a surprise. I don't know. I'm a defensive guy. I don't want you to know about the blitz.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's why you got to see that thing.
That's exactly. Look, Rusty saw it and made the check. They picked it up. You got to green dog the back sometimes, too, if he wants to leave early. But, Rusty, awesome. I appreciate you joining us, man.
Thanks, man.
Georgia, Oregon, huge game. There's a ton of storylines. I want to start with Dan Lanning. There's a lot of ways to combat and isn't always, this is how I know we live in the Matrix. Of course Oregon plays Georgia the first game, and of course Dan Lanning goes there. It's just the Matrix. It's how it will always be. It's like, it is what it is. But, Rusty, you can change the signals, but Dan's going to have a good idea, obviously what you do defensively, but offensively as well. What's your kind of feeling behind, sometimes you got to go Owen Wilson behind enemy lines on somebody?
I told everybody I've talked to, there's not a person in college football that knows Georgia better than Dan Lanning. Zero. Not one person. Every day against Todd Monken in practice. Every single day. Every game preparation under Kirby Smart, Dan Lanning's in that room. He knows exactly how Kirby's going to adjust this formation. Oh, by the way, Glenn Schumann and Dan Lanning, really close. Oh, by the way, Tice Lupoy and Glenn Schumann, they're in each other's weddings. These people think and know exactly what each other's going to do. The game within the game, the first quarter, first half is going to be incredible.
It is, and I always find it fascinating. Offensively as well. Last year, Rusty, before the season, with all the weapons that Georgia had before the attrition and the injuries, and we kind of knew more about JT after that Clemson game. We talked about Todd Monken opening up the offense a little bit, making that adjustment that Saban made offensively, getting away from just the old school, let's run it, let's play good defense and special teams and let you lose the game. Do you think now that, and I know Jermaine Burton's gone, but Kieris is back, Dominique Blaylock, you're open to stay healthy, Adonai Mitchell, obviously we know what he did last year. They've got weapons, and that tight end room, like I said, is the best one since the last Victoria's Secret model show in the changing room back there. But do you think this is the year where we're going to see a little more open formations from Georgia, spreading it out a little bit more, maybe kind of having a little more Harlem Globetrotters in them? Let's just go ahead and put it that way.
It drives Georgia fans nuts the way sometimes Kirby Smart wins. But last year, it didn't matter because they would smother you. If they got 14 points, it was a wrap. Now, the Alabama game, SEC championship, that was an eye-opener. Georgia couldn't bully ball them, and saw what happened. Couple of big plays, explosive plays there. And then that game got blown open. Now, I'll tell you this. Georgia, although extremely talented, we'll talk more about their defense, they're going to have to rely more on their offense this year. So I think as you go into a mindset of, hey, we have got to stay on the gas for 4 quarters this year. We got the weapons to do it. We got a guy that's dialing up plays. You've got to stay on the gas for 4 quarters, because I'm telling you, if you got up and you had the over against Georgia, you were sweating your ass off, because it was not going to happen. They would shut you down, and they would 3 and out and punt and dare you to get a first down, because it wasn't happening against Georgia last year.
Yeah, I ain't seen anybody excited about anything since Augustus Gloop saw the Chocolate River with Georgia getting up 14 points.
He was excited about that.
He was super he got
Rusty, Georgia has clearly separated themselves from the rest of the SEC East, but that next tier down is very competitive. Look, I expect Tennessee to play very good football this season, Kentucky to play good football. Shane Beamer has something special going at South Carolina, and if you think, even with a first-year head coach and Billy Napier at Florida, that game is just a gimme with that rivalry, you're out of your mind. Which team in the East do you think can play Georgia the closest this season and perhaps beat Georgia?
Well, Tennessee's going to give them a challenge. And here's the way I talk about that. They got Hendon Hooker back. I think Josh Heupel in his second year. I know Kentucky's a really, really good football team, interested in Florida. I agree with you. Shane Beamer's continuing to change that roster. It's almost like seeing a major league pitcher for the first time. Everybody got a look at Josh Heupel. How do defenses adjust to him? Because I'm going to tell you right now, you go back and watch the Ole Miss game, they had 94 cramps in the fourth quarter. Are they going to allow that to happen against the Tennessee team? Because they stress you so much play after play, and that thing is designed to wear you down. Now, are they going to get those calls this year against those injuries? Sounds like they are. We'll find out. But I think if you're Georgia and you just have to pick one game, I'd say Tennessee. The second sneaky game is they go to Starkville 2 weeks after they play Tennessee and Florida back to back, and 17 returning starters. And you go down there, and next thing you know, you got cross routes, pick routes, 4 quarters.
Mesh
guys tired.
4 quarters.
I'm talking about mesh like crazy for 4 quarters. So that's Mississippi State game, 17 returning starters, good quarterback, sneaky game to me.
Yeah. We played 2 air raid teams, Cone, and they just ran nothing but mesh, shallow cross, and all hitch. It just
feels like a handoff.
Yeah, it's a modified run, man. Well, we used to be like, look, you got to tailpipe the guys on mesh. I mean, you can't get picked. If you get picked against an air raid offense, it's like getting picked in basketball. They do it all the time.
Just tell Kirby not to fall for the fake play sheet when Mike Lee drops that. You know, that was a good story. West Virginia, marquee matchup tonight in the backyard brawl with Pitt. You followed JT Daniels as close as anyone the last couple seasons. Yep. Will JT Daniels break out this season and finally have the year that we've been hoping that he would have in college football?
I think it's a great fit for him. He's just drop back and sling it, man. I went back and watched some of his stuff actually in high school. Got a chance to meet JT out in Texas when he was there for the Adidas All-American game and when he reclassified. And, really for whatever reason, it didn't work at Georgia. And he got, had that injury, couldn't really get over it. Stetson Bennett's a kid that he had the locker room. That's not saying anything against JT Daniel because everything I heard, JT Daniel was a hell of a teammate. And you watch the Michigan game, you watch the national championship, you see the first person talking to Stetson Bennett that comes off the field is JT Daniels. It tells you he's engaged. So I fully expect him to go to West Virginia and throw that thing all over the field, processing some deep ball accuracy, that type of thing. Maybe get a little picky on him. See where he is, but I know true Georgia fans are watching this and they're rooting for this guy.
Good.
Yeah, West Virginia's got to be able to block somebody up front. I know they return all 5 offensive linemen, but just because I returned something that was broken last year doesn't automatically make it work this year.
Fair enough.
Rusty, it's great to hear you say that about JT. A lot of questions were swimming around about JT and yesterday's show about leadership and what's he like mentally. So it's good to hear you say that. I've been on this show, and I picked Oregon. I picked Oregon to upset Georgia. Tell me what would Oregon have to do to win this game? If they do win, what would be the recipe?
Let me see what I got in this cup. It's just coffee. I think for me, they've got 5 returning offensive linemen. They got 2 running back transfers. You got Bo Nix, who's athletic as hell. Everybody knows, you hear the stories about him. Can they piece it together? Can Dillingham pull that, what everybody kind of thinks Bo Nix has in him athletically? Can he stress you? Can they move the chains when it's 3rd and 5? Can Bo Nix find some time to be able to move those chains, extend drives, and keep, crazy as it sounds, keep an explosive Georgia offense off the field because they're going to have all kind of matchup problems. They got 4 new guys in the secondary. Yeah. Their best corner guy got hurt in the spring. He's out for the year, Dante Manning. So you look at the matchups offensively for Georgia's on the edge, a kid that nobody really talks about. And I got my ring because everybody in North Georgia kept telling me about Ladd McConkey. And I watched Ladd McConkey for 2 minutes. I was like, there ain't no way that guy's playing SEC. And he flat out is explosive when he gets the ball. Torched Auburn twice, took Bama on a tunnel screen, outran everybody for a touchdown. Had a personal, pass incompletion there, personal penalty on him. Defensive pass interference penalty on him in the Alabama game. He was stacked on top of receiver there. So they got all kind of matchup problems for me. But for Oregon's best chance is going to be able to find a way to run the ball, shorten the game, and maybe get a turnover here or there. Bo Nix make some of those crazy plays we've seen him make before. That's what, to me, would be Oregon's best chance.
Love it. All right, J-Mac Volunteer, he wants to know, does Stetson Bennett outperform himself from last year?
He should. I mean, the dude turns 25 in October. I mean, this dude, what somebody told me the other day, the guy's been through 7 Zeta pledge classes. I mean, he's been there. He's been there a while. You know what I mean? This guy's a grown man. I mean, this guy is a grown man playing football. He's got a ton of experience. So I think when you look at Stetson Bennett and Todd Monken's offense, some guys coming back, they got 2 NFL tackles. 2 super freaks there, Warren McClendon and Broderick Jones, super talented who have time. He's got options. I think he takes a step forward. Here's what I'll say about Stetson Bennett, and I'm extremely confident in saying this. This guy has the locker room. And I'll tell you this, if you go back and watch the national championship game, everybody knows he's crying in the game. You know his story. The first person that grabs him was Zamir White. The next person that grabs him was Broderick Jones and picks him up. And you don't tell me you don't have a locker room when you got those guys that are like, we believed in you. You did this thing. So that tells me this is the guy. They're going to roll with him. He doesn't have to look over his shoulder this year. He doesn't know. This time last year, guys, Stetson Bennett was 3rd string.
Yeah, he's playing Scrabble in the middle of practice.
Yeah, he can't even get any reps. But now he's the guy. I certainly anticipate him being a guy that's going to cause problems for other teams as you prepare for Georgia.
And it's never a bad idea to just find Brock Bowers.
No, they're going to lead the country.
Yeah, we would never. I would make, if I'm Stetson Bennett, I'm walking around with Brock Bowers, opening doors, making sure there's not like a step up, like when you're moving stuff, like, I'm 100%, all day at this thing. You're 25. I mean, Brock's what, like 11 years old out there?
Yeah.
So
they're going to lead the country in 13 personnel plays.
And guess what? It might as well be 10 personnel.
Yeah. I'll tell you this. Darnell Washington, from everything I've heard, is healthy, and he's taking that next step. I'm going to give you a name right now. You guys know who's follow recruiting, but maybe the country.
Oscar Delp?
Oscar Delp is that dude. I'm telling you. I watched Oscar Delp. I actually did his game, the first game of his junior year, played in the Corky Kell Classic, and he took basically a quick out and went about 70 on a super fast team. Michigan offered that night after the game, and he started rolling from there. This kid's 6'5", 225 pounds. And I know it's crazy, but Georgia's tight end room just got really, really deep. And this guy, Oscar Delp, number 4, is going to help Georgia, and he's going to help them quick.
Man, I wonder what that's like. That must be so cool. Yeah, that must be so cool.
Todd Hartley's living right. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, for sure. He just walks in the room. He's like, what do y'all want to do today? Yeah. Everybody here? Everybody good?
Yeah.
Everybody good?
You're all right?
You need anything? You need some water?
Better take a picture with that group. That group will be on his wall wherever he goes in life.
That's exactly right. Blend a couple more.
All right, Ethan Williams, #Ask Rusty. Is the talent in the Georgia's receiver room you consider be underrated?
I do think it's underrated. I do think they don't have what they're looking for, the explosive guys. You lose a guy like Jermaine Burton that can knock the top off. He's a guy that's changed the direction. Jermaine Burton's going to be a super freak at Alabama. My personal opinion is Jermaine Burton left because he knew Brock Bowers was going to be that guy there. He knew the guy that would get the touches. But I'll tell you this, Georgia has some guys that's not super deep. But you look at Kearis Jackson. This is a kid that won the 100 in high school. This is a kid that won the shot put in high school at wide receiver. Don Blaylock coming back. Georgia's looking for top-end speed and playmakers. Of course, everybody is. But that's the one room at Georgia I think they need an upgrade if they want to stay at a high level, because you're not going to keep a room like Darnell Washington, Brock Bowers, Eric Gilbert, and Oscar Delp. It doesn't happen. Enjoy it while it is. It's just hard to happen like that. So I think Georgia needs to, and you look at this recruiting class, they're trying to get these guys with speed. Dylan Bell, a kid out of Houston, Texas, very underrated. Talked to someone inside that building. They worked him out last year, and the entire staff was like, this guy can play. They offered him immediately, held off Texas there at the end for a kid out of Houston. He's going to be in that top 6 rotation and playing. So I think Georgia's got playmakers. The game for me, and you guys kind of hit on this sometimes, it's changed so much. I mean, the days of having that super elite running back and 3 of them and getting downhill and pounding, it's over. Look at Alabama. Look at Ohio State. What do? First round wide receivers. Those guys make the decision. When Clemson's good, what did they have? Elite quarterback and elite wide receivers. That's the way the game is because that's the way it trickles down from the NFL.
Sure. One more, Blaine.
All right, Emmanuel C. #Ask Rusty. What is the biggest difference in culture from Mark Richt's tenure at Georgia compared to Kirby Smart? The talent has always been exceptional, but why do you think Kirby has finally broke through?
The depth. Mark Richt always had 1 through 35. I mean, 1 through 35 at Georgia, they were putting players in the NFL all day. The roster at Georgia from 36 to 85 is totally different. And I said this in 2017, the national championship game that January morning, we're in Phillips Arena. And we do the 2 teams. So Georgia walks in, and I've seen all those kids. I've covered them. They come into the table, do the media day, and they got Ben Cleveland. They got some big guys, you know, and I thought, well, they're pretty big. And then Alabama walked in, and I was like, holy moly. I mean, they've got 85 of these freaks. And Kirby, in his first press conference at Georgia, one of the first things he said, we've got to get bigger. And when you talk about the kids they're recruiting, they got a kid committed right now, Jamal Jarrett out of North Carolina. This kid's 6'6", 330. They're looking for big human beings. And when you look at Georgia now, when you see them in person, they look like an SEC, a national championship type roster. I had an NFL scout tell me a couple of weeks ago that he'd been everywhere. He'd been to Clemson. He hadn't been to Ohio State. He'd been to Alabama. He'd been all over the South. He said, man, I don't know where Georgia's finding these kids, but they are massive guys.
Big, fast, and deep's a nice recipe to win.
No doubt. Hey, Rusty, I want to ask you, if you take Georgia out of the equation, which college football game are you most excited about this weekend?
I'm interested in Notre Dame, Ohio State, because because here's the rat poison. Everybody's talked about Ohio State all offseason.
Yep.
Notre Dame played like piss poor in a bowl game. They had to get stuff together. You give Freeman an offseason, and he's played the guy in the press conference talking about he don't know the 17.5 point spread. Let me tell you something. That damn spread has been all over that building the day it came out. So kudos to Coach Freeman for that, acting like he didn't know what the spread was. You use every angle you can. But something tells me that Notre Dame's going to show up. Do they win? I don't think so. But I think that's going to be a closer game than people think.
Rusty, if Oregon hadn't beaten Ohio State at their place early last year, I'd be right there with you. I feel like after what happened with Ohio State last year, looking back on that, I don't know if they sneak up on them. But I do got to ask you, and if you don't have one yet, that's totally fine. I know the business is. Do you have a prediction or an idea of what's going to happen Saturday, Georgia-Oregon?
I think 34-17. And I know I'm right around that number. That people.
Well, they're typically right, Rusty. I mean, it's not a bad strategy.
People kind of interested in that number. I kind of looked at some things. Listen, Georgia, this is not last year's defense. And I think people need to understand that. Now, I'm telling you right now, they got some freaking dudes that can run. They're about to introduce the country to Malachi Starks. I'm telling you right now, people are going to go, where did they get that kid? He was a 24/7 long jumper, 10, 500 meter, 205 pounds, 205 pounds safe, 6'2", 24/7 long jumper.
Yeah.
Great kid, and he's gonna be in the back end for that defense for Georgia sooner than later. Smile Munden is a kid that was a major college recruit, 4'5" inside backer. So they're replacing these guys with a lot of talent, but it is invaluable what they lost in that locker room in Jordan Davis, N'Kobe Dean, Channing Tindall, Quay Walker. I mean, can Nolan Smith and Robert Beal rally these younger kids and hold on enough until that meat of that schedule holds up? But it's going to be built different, Georgia team. I think offensively it's going to be fun to watch, and I'm interested in how these young kids and how quick they can able to impact the game on that side of the ball.
Yeah, well, shoot, Starks is one combine away from
Jordan
Avengers.
I'm telling you now, this dude's I've never seen. But he ran 10,500 at 205 pounds.
That's a missile. We're sending those to Ukraine right now.
I did that. I did that only one time. I could never do it a second time.
That one time you did. But Rusty, tell everybody where they can find your work, my friend.
Oh man, on 24/7 Sports, I help cover Georgia on Dogs 247, Twitter at Mansell 247, and somehow, some way, I've signed a TV deal, and I look a hell of a lot better in makeup. So on Friday nights, you can catch me in Atlanta doing the high school game. Got a great game this week. Got North Cobb versus Buford. I think we got 31 kids with P5 offers in that game. Yeah. So that is a grown man high school football game in the state of Georgia. But
how's Statesboro looking, Rusty? How's Statesboro looking these days?
You put Statesboro High School or Georgia Southern? Statesboro High School.
Both of them, but I'm asking about Statesboro High School. But yeah,
Jeff Kaiser's got them guys rolling. They got a big time prospect. They got a big time prospect down there. I love some Jeff Kaiser. I think he's the right person for that job. And if Jeff's watching right now, I promise I'm gonna stop by. He has been on me for 2 years now, and if it gets to year 3, I might have a limp.
Yeah, I'll show you something, Rusty. Hold on.
Hold on, Rusty. A lot of rumors going around there.
Rusty.
What we got? We got the S right there.
Yeah, look at that.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about.
I'm gonna have to call Buzz Busby this week.
He played nose with that helmet.
Yeah.
So true story. This summer, I'm in the Atlanta airport and I'm getting a cup of coffee, and the guy beside me. This was probably late or early June. He's got a bag on. I look at him. I said, "This dude's pretty yoked up," and had his wife with him, I guess. And we're sitting there. I said, wait a minute. Are you Justin Houston? And he said, yep. And I said, man, I covered you the first year. He goes, oh my God. He had like to remember. He didn't remember me. And he was on his way to Baltimore to take his physical to sign. But, man, that dude, you're talking about a long time NFL guy. From Statesboro, Justin Houston.
Justin was a junior when I was a senior. We won the state championship that year. The first 4 teams we played ran the wing T. Justin's on the edge. Justin's on the edge. Just, hey, come here. Bam, gotcha. He would bring guys down with one hand. I'm like, that's not even a tackle. You just grabbed him.
Yeah, it's like this one. Oh, go ahead.
Who was a safety? Didn't you have a safety play with y'all, defensive guy?
John Knox. John Knox, man. He was an incredible player. And he went up to Georgia as well.
Yeah, I remember that now. Yep.
Well, Rusty. Oh yeah, Statesboro, the finest again. God, the home of David Cone. Justin Houston, all these other guys. Who's that? But no, Rusty, we appreciate you coming on, my brother, and I'm sure we'll have you on again soon.
Let me tell you, every time I see y'all, your studio upgrades. So I'm thinking y'all are going to be at the Playboy Mansion the next time y'all have me on.
That's crazy you say that. We're heading there right after this. So
I hear you.
That's great.
Congratulations, man. Y'all do a hell of a job. Watch it all the time. Catch it on replay. But, man, super happy for you guys. I know y'all been getting after it, and thank y'all for having me.
Hey, Rusty, appreciate the kind words, my friend. You know how much respect we have for you. And knock it out Friday. Look, you make the TV look good.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All right, my friend. Thanks, all right, if you want to watch the rest of the show, remember, stay here if you want to listen. Stay if you want. But if you want to watch, head over to the Daily Wire Plus. Come on, come hang out with us. Become a member. Listen on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe, leave a 5-star review, share it with all your friends. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It's football season. We're about to come back and break it down even more. Step up 5. Well, you decided to stay. Congratulations. You've just won a... No, I'm just kidding. But we do appreciate you hanging out. Blaine, we're going to get back to Keys of Victory and then Keys of the Streets. But first, what's the Booster Club saying?
All right, put a poll out.
Poll?
All right. So I'm getting to the point where I'm asking the Booster Club, what's their thoughts? Give me a little feel for what you want for a poll.
Is this about JT Daniels?
No, it's not.
Okay. You just always...
What's your thing with JT
What, you just use polls to emotionally...
Right when Luganville was like, who was talking about JT Daniels? Y'all were the first little kids.
Because you were the one.
It was him.
You were the one.
I love to hear Rusty saying that. I love to hear Rusty saying that about JT's leadership in the locker room, that he was the first guy with Stetson, his athletic ability, and I'm not the only one.
You know what I love to hear? When Brett Favre says you guys cheat on offense because the rules are slanted for y'all. All right, I won that argument. That one's hook, line, and sinker.
That?
That's what he said. That's basically what he said.
Leave it to a defensive guy to make things up.
Oh, wow. Also, JT Daniels player prop over under passing yards tonight, 240. You taking the over?
Yeah.
240?
You're taking over 240?
Is that one of your picks?
No, I didn't look at that, to be honest.
Okay, well, I'm just letting you know.
But if you want me to, I will.
What's the Booster Club?
Hashtag believe. All right, the poll is who wins this game, Purdue or Penn State. Okay. So let that one sink in a little bit. We're going to go to Emmanuel C.
I just ask Emmanuel C's question all the time. I love it.
Okay, you know what, Emmanuel? You don't get a question.
No,
I ask it all the time. I ask it all the time. All right, no. I ask it all the time.
What was Emmanuel's question?
I literally complimented Emmanuel last week because he called it the Pac-10, which is exactly right because 2 teams are leaving.
How do you remember that's who said that comment?
Because of a photographic memory, which is half good and half bad.
Yeah.
All right, it says, if Will Anderson's either matches or breaks Terrell Suggs' college sack record in the season, will voters have no other choice but to vote Anderson to win the Heisman over a QB?
Manuel, I really want to believe this. Like, deep down in places I don't even talk about, I want to believe this. But when you have guys like Mad Dog Rousseau that they give votes on this for some reason that probably don't even know how many guys are on the field at the same time, I don't think they're going to vote a defensive player. I don't. I think Will Anderson could cure cancer. He could make contact with aliens and bring peace to the universe and break Terrell Suggs' record. And they still are going to give it to a quarterback. It's an offensive award. Can we just go and say it? And maybe if I say this enough, it'll change it. But guess what? Probably not. So Will Anderson, baller. Having Dallas Turner on the other end, it's going to help him out a ton because the secret's out. All right, that dude, I think he broke the record for tackles for loss in the season last year. If he breaks his sack record, he should win it. I think even Dan Mullen said he should win it. So I don't think so because we let people vote who don't have a clue about football. And as long as we keep doing that, we're going to have these stupid-ass results that we get that aren't true. Because of guys like Mad Dog.
You think Mad Dog could draw up power?
Mad Dog doesn't know. Mad Dog thinks power is something you attain, not a football play.
Hey, Charles Woodson won it.
Yeah, back when?
1997.
Yeah, cool. And guess who didn't win it that year?
Peyton Manning.
And guess what? Guess how many defense players won it since?
And maybe Randy Moss was in that. Were those the 3 that year?
Was Randy in 97?
Was that the 97?
He was with Chad Pennington, right? At Marshall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was Charles Woodson, Peyton Manning, and Randy Moss.
That'd be a good trivia question.
I think, actually, and today is Thursday. I should hop on that. Should get on that.
Come on
Stop slipping.
All right, Devin21, hashtag Ask Crane & Company. When will Vandy win an SEC game, and who will they beat? Does Vandy play Auburn this year?
Look, in a couple years.
Look, 10 years from now, there's going to be... Now, Mike Wright, when you go back and watch, I know it's against Hawaii, but he is flying. There's one, I think they're up 42-10, maybe it's 53-10, that he takes down the sidelines, that he is absolutely skating. I'm talking about Winter Olympics. I'm talking Apollo Ono. He's gone.
Ono?
He is gone with the wind. So I don't think they win one this year. Next year, I think they win one. I'd have to look at the schedule.
All right, Bacon Eater.
Good for you.
I love bacon. All right, which conference is dead? Pac-12 or Big 12?
Well, Big 12 is resurrected like a phoenix hath rose from the ashes. The Big 12 last year, we left them to die out in the desert. No water. You're seeing mirages. Birds are circling. All of a sudden, the camel shows up. Who's that? TV media rights. Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
Turns out it was. The Pac-12 right now, I think they're in a better position than they were, but they're holding the rope, and you never want to be holding the rope in this situation. You want to be the one pulling the rope. You're already losing USC and UCLA. You're here in Washington, maybe looking around. Oregon, maybe flirting and texting with somebody, behind the scenes that you don't know about. Why are you getting texted at 2 a.m? What's going on? Oh, nothing. It's work. It is. It really? Right now, I think some of the Pac-12 teams, or you can call it Pac-10, shout out Emmanuel C., I think they may be, kind of some Jason Derulo, what you say.
Really?
Yeah.
They're going to get some milk and never coming back.
That's exactly right.
All right, we got Weeby Nation says, I love James Franklin. He brought Penn State back to prominence, but I don't think he can take us to the next level. Who do you guys think can take Penn State from prominence to dominance?
Prominence to dominance.
Like
Number one, you go ahead and put that on a shirt. That's pretty good. Look, James Franklin, I think, is a good coach. I think James Franklin, in game, isn't fantastic. I think he's He's more of your CEO type. He's more of your, I know he knows how to cultivate a program. The guy won 9 games at Vanderbilt twice. Like, it's really hard for me to dog James Franklin after you did that. Because it's either one of two things. Either you're a good coach or you used magic. Like, one of those two.
Can't be both?
No. The world's not ready for that. You know what we call that? Thanos. We're not ready for that.
Called Saban.
Yeah. Well, Saban's getting close. He's going to snap his finger. He's already snapped his fingers and made 80% of college football irrelevant. But I think if we're going to say, all right, James Franklin moves on with his contract, I think it's kind of interesting. You've got some names that would pop up. Jamie Chadwell, to me, is pretty interesting. I know Greg Schiano would probably not leave Rutgers, but I think Greg Schiano going to Penn State, Big Ten guy, it would make sense. Would Brett Bielema leave Illinois to go to Penn State? Would that would be a step up technically, but I like what he's got cooking in Illinois. You look at the young coaches, right? The young guys that are coordinators that are kind of next up. I'll give you 2 names. Jeff Levy, I think, would be a great fit at Penn State. Cool offense. You bring in a good defensive coordinator. You're able to mix up pace. And then Kendall Briles from Arkansas.
There it is.
I think I think those are 2 names to keep.
Those 2 names plus Jamie Chadwell, you're clearly going offensive minded there, right?
Yeah.
So my thing with Penn State is, yes, you do need to bring in someone who can be innovative enough on offense to be able to compete with the Buckeyes or Michigan or with what Mel Tucker's doing at Michigan State, but without losing that physicality on defense that makes Penn State
But don't you
special.
think that's ingrained in Penn State, though?
It is until it's not. It is until you come in and just flip the bag. I mean, look, I talk about it all the time just because I lived through it. When Rich Rodriguez came into Michigan, everything changed. Yeah. I mean, we went from having, we wanted linebackers at 245 to weighing 225. We wanted linemen who weighed 305 like Taylor Lewan and Jake Long to weighing 285. You're talking about running trips to the side in a spread offense and going fast. We were running 4 verticals 20 times a game. When I was at Michigan my first 2 years, we never called the same play more than once. So many things changed, and it can unravel quickly if you completely go a completely separate direction in terms of your philosophy.
Definitely. Well, let's go a completely separate direction from the Booster Club right now. We're going to come back. Little West Virginia-Pittsburgh preview.
Okay, let's do it.
Victory.
West Virginia at Pitt tonight.
I'm gonna start with West Virginia. This game is going to come down because I do think Pittsburgh's going to be able to score with Slovis, with some of the guys they have. The running back they had last year played half the season. I really like him a lot. Ended up, I think, playing 6 games, getting almost 700 yards, had a good touchdown clip. Pittsburgh's better than West Virginia up front on both sides of the ball. So when I look at West Virginia, you're going to have to throw the ball to win. You're not going to be able to run the ball consistently enough, in my opinion, to dictate the pace of the game the way you want it and control it and assert yourself. So that means you're going to have to go through the air. You've got to protect JT Daniels because you are going to have to affect Purdue, who's not elite defensively. They return some guys, but this isn't a dominant defense. We know this is an offensive-heavy team where the defense tries to play good enough to win the game. They lost Kalafkas from last year, who was a humongous guy to rely on 3rd down, 1st down, regardless of the situation. West Virginia is going to have to take short passes, intermediate passes, and lead those to explosive plays. I don't think you're going to see JT Daniels have time to drop back in the pocket, let everybody get downfield, and start chunking it, hitting hole shots, hitting verts, taking shots down the field. Whether that's quick screens outside, whether that's getting the offensive line out on running back screens early in downs, they're going to have to find the way to negate not only the Pittsburgh pass rush by getting the ball out quick, because I think Pittsburgh knows they can get there without blitzing. And I don't care.
All game?
Not all game. They're going to blitz some, but every defensive guy that knows what they're doing, if I can get there with 4, I'm not blitzing. If I'm pressuring you, why? Why would I do that? Why would I take that risk? Now, I may send 5 one time. I may green dog the back. He's staying in for protection, so the linebacker goes. But if I'm getting there with 4, I'm not going to take a big risk and start blitzing everybody. So I think what you're going to see from Neil Brown and West Virginia is we use the term modified runs a lot, right? Passes that are really runs, very high percentage, swings to the back. And I'm not talking check down. I'm not talking read, check down. I'm talking, hey, this play is designed to go here short. All right, we're going to throw the bubble. We're going to throw a lot of hitches. West Virginia has got to get in 2nd and 5s and 2nd and 6s, because if they get into predictable downs with what Pittsburgh has on that defensive line, even rushing 4, and as good as Pittsburgh is in the secondary, because West Virginia wide receivers dropped a lot of passes last year. They dropped a lot of passes. And we'll see if they've improved on it. But if they're in 2nd and 8 and 3rd and 9, this team is not good enough up front to let JT Daniels sit back there and pick you off at the sticks and beyond.
We talk about JT Daniels a lot, but we don't often talk about his former teammate who actually took over that starting quarterback role in Southern Cal, Kedon Slovis. You know, what do you expect from this guy this season? What is the ceiling?
Yeah, well, looking at Pittsburgh, Kedon's got to stay healthy. We know he throws a good ball. He's proven more than JT has. I mean, we've seen him a lot more than that. You do lose Jordan Addison, but they have weapons out there. I mean, you've got legitimate weapons that Kedon can rely on. But Pittsburgh, to me, they can't get too bogged down by trying to slow the game down. Okay, and you're like, all right, well, what do you mean by that? Well, look who the OC is at West Virginia. Okay, they're going to throw the ball a lot, which means that they're probably going to use pace to try and get Pittsburgh defensive line somewhat tired and catch them in base, like I mentioned earlier. But I don't think Pittsburgh considered and say, you know what, we're just going to line up and run the ball the whole game and shorten the game. I think they need to be aggressive. Kedon Slovis does a really good deep ball. And if you're able to run the ball, that sets up what? The play action and taking shots down the field. And the more shots that they hit and the more shots that they take, those safeties start to back up a little bit. The DC gets a little bit, nervy about walking people up and taking chances in the box and doing all types of things. That's going to open up the run game, where in the second half, if you've got that 10-point lead, that's how you bury them. That's when you control the game by finishing the game early, and that's when you start eating out. You're up 14, up 17 late in the game. You start eating first downs, which eats the clock.
Blaine, Kedon Slovis, JT Daniels, who has a better season? And
JT Daniels.
Do both of those guys play in the NFL?
No. I don't think so. I think JT
either
has
one
a
of
better
them plays
chance.
in the
I think
NFL?
JT has a better chance. I mean, I don't know what all this hype is about Slovis. There's a reason the kid left USC.
Well, you
There's
can make that exact same statement.
The reason
about
the kid that
JT
got benched at USC, I mean, JT got hurt.
You can make the exact same statement about him, though. I mean, he's transferred more times than
Well,
Slovis has.
JT was starting, then got hurt. Kedon Slovis got benched and then left.
I mean,
He regressed his last year at USC. Threw 11 touchdowns, 8 picks. If I'm West Virginia, Slovis, you are beating me this game with your arm. I'm stopping the run. And Slovis, if you do, then you do.
How are you stopping the run, though?
Load the box.
You're loading the box.
Load the box. If you do,
right.
I'll tip my cap. We'll walk out and say, great job. I didn't believe in you, but you showed me the truth. All right, I believe in JT as a pocket passer. He was 7-0 at Georgia and got hurt. They were rolling kids. Neil Brown does a great job calling plays. They got a bunch of transfers in the secondary. I mean, I'm sitting with West Virginia plus 13.5. I believe in JT Daniels. Receivers got to play better. I know the offensive line is not that great, but I want to see it from Slovis. All this hype around Slovis, it's the reason the kid left. It's the reason the kid got benched. I don't know why. There's a lot more. I've seen a lot more from JT being who JT is and going against tougher teams at Georgia than a kid from USC who regressed in his final year.
Okay, two things. I can see where you're coming from in that. Remember, Neil Brown's not calling the plays. Graham Harrell's calling the plays.
True.
And he's going to throw the ball around. Now, the buck stops with the head coach. I know what you're saying.
Exactly.
But I feel like it's a dangerous game to play. Because West Virginia's not terrible on defense, but they're not good. They're not elite up front.
They better keep
They gave up
within
one.
4.
They gave up one more point average last year than Pittsburgh.
Okay, now that's something you've got to look at game by game as well. But Pittsburgh won the ACC, and they're a pretty balanced team.
Yeah, I'm talking about defenses. They gave up one more point.
If you're going to come up and do that, and you're going to say, all right, we'll go one-on-one, match up man-to-man on the outside, get ready for a lot of pass interferences. Get ready for, if you don't get there, now it's one thing to load the box, it's another thing to bring people. So if we're going to turn this into a 11 personnel and a back, we're going to chip and keep the back in and protect, and y'all are going to load the box, and we're just going to play one-on-one, and you're going to dare them to do it. I feel like that's a dangerous game to play the whole time. I think what you're going to see from West Virginia is they are going to match personnel. You get heavy personnel, I'm bringing in heavy personnel. You want to line up an ace? We'll walk the safeties up a little bit because the tight end's not going to run by my safety, or he shouldn't. I just think they're going to be a little more balanced. I do think they will lean to stop the run.
Got to.
I do think they will lean to stop the run because if you can't stop the run, you're going to lose the game. I just don't think they need to kind of overdo it, if that makes sense.
I like it. I kind of want to watch this game with Blaine now.
I know, right?
Yeah. Just to see how this quarterback battle plays out.
Yeah.
Right down
Yeah,
All right.
30 seconds.
So, Tennessee, Ball State. What do you think about that one?
Murder.
I mean, how fast is Tennessee going to go?
As fast as they want.
Ball State's projected to finish last, I think, in the MAC.
Yeah, they lost the Drew Plitt kid. Basically, everybody that mattered last year. It's not going to be good. I think Tennessee's going balls deep on Ball State. Let's just put it that way.
All right. Blaine?
Yeah, a slaughtering. Yeah, it's going to be a pool. I mean, stay healthy.
What is it? What is it? Minus 35? What is it? Minus 35?
I think it's minus 35
and a half.
I will say Tennessee let me down in the opener against Bowling Green last year, but your boy Scott left.
Scotty Leffler,
Yeah.
man.
That's because Joe Milton started that game.
Yeah, that's true. Joe Milton was like, here.
Yeah.
How many times are they singing Rocky Top tonight?
A lot. Well, they sing it a lot anyway.
Okay.
I feel like it's a brainwashing thing. I'm for real. When Auburn played him in the SEC championship game, in 2004, like I just heard it in my sleep, my nightmares, and my good dreams. What do you call it? A good dream? Just good dream?
That's a good dream, yeah.
Are dreams and nightmares different?
I don't know. We'll find out.
When you say nightmare, clearly that's that's a negative.
I don't have
term.
night
But if you say I had a
terrors.
dream, does
I'm
that
not-
automatically mean it was positive?
No.
I don't know. They're all weird to me, man.
Yeah.
They're all weird.
No, I agree. Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State, yeah. Well, here, what else you want here?
Let's go. What's all on the slate tonight, Kevin?
All right,
Let's
so we
just run
got,
through
look,
it real quick.
Central Michigan, Oklahoma State.
Could be
All right, at Oklahoma State.
ugly.
Now we're talking about the MAC. Central Michigan's projected to finish second.
Could this get a little weird with Oklahoma
was
State?
looking at it, man. It's
Oklahoma
24
State,
and a
we
half.
know defensive identity, weird with Mike Gundy. Speaking of split, like who is this? Who am I?
Yeah.
Central Michigan, Pimbleton, is he back? The guy who ruined Blaine's life?
Is Pimpleton back, Blaine?
No, he's plays for the Lions. Well, he's waiting to make the cut, but he plays for the Lions.
Yeah, okay, so he won't be returning punts.
Yeah,
and-
trust me.
Was
When
it
I
the
was watching Hard Knocks, his first half under. Why do we gotta do this?
I'm sorry, man.
Why we gotta do this?
I'm
watching
sorry.
Hard Knocks, I mean, the guy dropped a 4th and goal pass on the 7. He's working to make a roster spot. I hated to see him, and maybe loved to see him.
All right, Central Florida and South Carolina State. Your boy, Malzahn.
Yeah,
It's a jet sweep.
It's a jet sweep. That's
Okay.
exactly right. Inside zone jet sweep. Inside zone jet sweep.
Wake Forest, VMI.
VMI. Appreciate what you guys do at VMI. Wake Forest, I do kind of want to see, them obviously not with Sam Hartman right now. Still kind of, out indefinitely, whatever. VMI just doesn't have the cats to be able to compete. But I kind of want to see what Wake Forest is working with a little bit offensively.
Our boys, Fresno State and Cal Poly.
Ooh.
What does this game and an Agatha Christie book have in common?
What?
They both involve murder. And Fresno State last year beat them so badly, bad.
Oh, it's gonna be the same way.
It was, I really almost took this bet, but just part of me was like, just bet the big games, I guess. But I would take Fresno State to cover like a nice blanket in the winter.
Minnesota's playing. New Mexico State.
We've seen New Mexico State, not great. Jerry Kill, great coach. I think he's going to actually turn that place around. They lost the Garcia Castaneda kid to Nebraska, which, sucks for him. I think this is going to be a slaughter. New Mexico State just doesn't have the depth up front. They're very, very small. I don't see them being able to compete.
UAB, Alabama A&M.
Come on, Coach V.
Go, Coach.
Come on,
Coach,
Coach
right?
V.
Isn't that your
Let's
coach?
do it.
Yeah, he coached me in high school.
Yeah.
Well, for my
Had him on the
first 2 years of high school. Then Freeman came in, who's at Thompson. But come on, Coach V, you got it, baby.
Yeah, Alabama A&M, y'all just handle business. Let's get down to business. Mulan style. Y'all know what to do.
All right, you ready for your trivia question?
Let's do it.
Oh, it's
Been coming up with a
That's
trivia
right.
question here, all right? You guys have 2 minutes. 2-minute stopwatch. We were talking about Heisman Trophy winners. Charles Woodson won in 1997.
Oh,
No.
Okay. From 1998 to 2008, who were the 10 Heisman Trophy winners? I will give you 2 minutes.
From 1998 to 2008,
Yep.
Tim Tebow.
Mark Ingram, Kyler Murray.
Mark Ingram was 2009. Who'd you say, Tim Tebow? Check.
Yeah, you said 2008 to.
1998.
We stop asking
2008.
questions. Start guessing. Said Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
Jason White.
Yes.
Think Blaine.
Did Sam Bradford win it?
Reggie
Yes.
Bush.
Sam Bradford won 2008. Yes.
Yes, Reggie Bush.
Yes.
Matt Leinart.
That's early.
Yes.
There's 10?
Even though Reggie's isn't on here, but
Well, come on.
Cam
Newton.
Cam was after that.
That's 2010. You're tripping.
No, he
You
said
got me.
2010.
He said 98 to 2008.
Oh, okay.
Another Southern Cal quarterback.
T. Martin? He went last. I'm tripping. Carson Palmer.
Yes.
Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Let's think. We're spinning the globe here. Vince Young. Did Vince
No.
Young win the Heisman? I'm
No.
tripping.
Reggie Bush won that.
Yeah, Reggie Bush won that year, even though it was vacated, but we count it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's think Ohio State.
Florida State quarterback.
Florida State. Chris Winkie?
Yes.
Nice. Let's go. I think that's it from Florida. No Mississippi. No Texas.
Buckeye quarterback.
That's one. CJ. No. God, I can't believe I can't remember this guy.
This guy kept us
Troy
out.
Smith.
Troy Smith kept us out of the national
God.
championship. How about Texas running back?
Ricky Williams?
Yes.
Yes. God, how many is that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm losing count.
You have one more.
One more.
You have one more to get.
How much
Conference.
time?
Big Ten. Big Ten, you have 20 seconds.
Purdue,
Big
Michigan
Ten.
State. No.
Running back.
It's a back. Yeah,
It's a back. Who is it?
Ohio State back.
Wisconsin.
Not Melvin Gordon.
10 seconds.
Not Ron Dane.
Ron Day.
Ron Dane.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Nice.
Then we had a couple hints there, but come on, people. That's some Stump to Schwab type stuff going on. Playing Booster Club.
Okay, that was quick. All right.
Best believe it.
Mike.
You said Eric Crouch, right?
Yeah.
You said Eric Crouch.
Yeah.
If you didn't say
Well,
Eric
I
Crouch,
had Reggie Bush, and that you said that there was 10, so I answered.
Yeah.
Colleen Houston says you have to ask Meek Mill the difference between dreams and nightmares.
You have to
Colleen,
what?
number one, great
Bars.
question the other day.
What'd
Number
she say?
two, great comment.
Oh, Meek Mill?
You have to ask Meek Mill the difference between dreams and nightmares. Absolute bars. What was your favorite? God, I saw a question up here. Let's go Travis Elrod. Hashtag Ask Cone. What is the most complicated play call you can remember from your Michigan days?
Speed break Detroit, right side, 300 box, Y stick, H through a 54X slush. You get a 1-5 sky, bark fire zone. You cannon, throw the slow go seam.
Yep, that's it.
All right.
That's
Actually, to be honest with you, that was the simplest one. That's
was
day
the
one
easiest
install.
one.
That's day
That's
one install.
inside zone.
Y stick. Well, it's just Y stick,
Yeah.
you know. But no, lefty will be out there. We're
That's
gonna run flanker drive. We're gonna run Z motion flanker drive with the circus on the backside. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, well look, actually here,
that first call was taken in.
got all sorts of props today. It's football season.
That's true.
Here, I'm gonna let Jake just pick one out.
Ooh, let's do this. You got
Here.
the old playbook.
Oh, Michigan playbook.
Old Michigan
Just pick one
playbook in
out.
the old school binder.
Yeah.
Let's just pick. Let's little spring install.
Yeah, spring install.
Must be able to talk ball like you're a coach. The more you know, the better you'll do. I'll read your notes there.
Are those my notes?
These are your notes. You got good handwriting.
Whoa.
Allie, number 1 or number 2 receiver, can move to block. Not great into pressure. Check it out of pressure, David.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Hold on. Here we go. Now we're diving in. Let's see. Let's go ace, left whip, lid slot, 3-7 jet. Oh, this is just against looks up front as well. What you're going to do against a bear front. Under if the Sam walks, 82 swalk. God, the way y'all call things on offense is just so ass backwards. It's so funny because looking at this, it literally is backwards.
Because it is backwards.
Because
for
it's
you.
flipped. Oh, man, this is good stuff, Coney. Oh, Lee, yeah, frame some of this. When scrambling in practice, run!
Is that what I
Stop
wrote?
jogging around when you're scrambling, David.
Is that what I wrote?
Yeah. Ping X circus. Cover one on the backside. Signal tiger to wide receiver. Tiger. What's that signal for tiger? You remember? Is it this teeth?
This was Kitty.
Ooh.
I can't remember Tiger. All the big cat stuff was comebacks. So
Okay.
Tiger,
Nice.
Kitty, Panther.
Nice. We'll go a couple more. This is great. The difference between being average and great is accuracy.
You write that one down. You write
I'll
that
read one more.
down.
I'll read one. I'll read one
I'm
more.
loving this.
Keep in mind, everything that's written there is with Scott Leffler standing over my shoulder.
Yeah.
Write this down.
Scott Leffler's the best coach I've ever had.
Coach Carr is the CEO of this team. Take notes, learn. Knowledge is power. When pointing at us, 41 will swap. We don't know what's coming. Frisco, Shark, sorry. So we're going to repoint to the mic. It's just identifying, I'm guessing, what y'all.
50. Blaine's the mic.
Blaine's the mic.
Then you keep turning. It's like live, laugh, love.
You go, ooh, here's your little stick principle.
That's why stick.
Love it.
Yep. This is at a 3x1. God, you used to kill us in
3x1.
So we would well, it's tray open, but like so we used to. What thing I used to tell my guys when I would give them a stick, because stick, just think about it from a 2x2 principle right now. You got a vertical by 1, 5-yard out by 2. If it's a vertical by 1 and it's a 10-yard out, we call that sail. So we used to have a cut call into the boundary. We'd only do it into the boundary. So it's 2x2 with 2 in the boundary. You got the safety in the corner, right? This is allowing the corner to jump the out and the safety overtake number 1 once you read it. And you'd have to identify it after 2 steps. So we'd make a cut call before, just in case. It's basically converting into trap. So 1 goes vertical, the outside receiver goes vertical, and the eyes on 2, because what's crazy is the corner in quarters, and I'm just doing this out of base quarters, has his eye, it's 2 to Q. You're not looking at number 1 who you're in front of. That's not how it works. Eventually, if 2 doesn't break off and you don't trap him and take him and let 1 go to the safety, then your eyes will revert back to number 1. You have man eyes and you have zone eyes. So we used to tell the corner and zone, it's Q to 2. That way, y'all just can't stick us to death.
Which is why those stick principles in zone, and you'll see it in these notes all the time. I'm sure you got told all the time, Blaine, is that vertical is mandatory outside release.
Yeah,
Got to get the corner to turn.
You got to go.
Because if you're inside release, the corner can jump in the flat.
That's exactly right. And if the corner's letting you go inside, is funneling you inside, guess what? It's covered too.
Yeah. There's a reason for it.
All right, I'm going to walk over the board while you read a booster question, Blaine.
All right, Justin Decker, #Ask the Show. What is a funny negative recruiting story you guys have from back in the day?
Negative recruiting story?
Well, it wasn't negative until recently, but I met Jalen Rose on my official visit.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Is that on your Mount Rushmore?
Now he calls me a clown.
Well, the funniest, so I was getting recruited for baseball. I won't say which coach it was. I just committed to a certain school, and so I got a call from the school I ended up going to. And they were like, hey, man, just, wanted to tell you congratulations. I hope you have fun up there in Bowling Green. Just know it's, there, I just told you where I was going. But he's like, you know how cold it gets up there. And I was like, yeah, me and this coach had a long relationship. He had been recruiting me for about 2 or 3 years. He's like, what are you going to major in? And I was like, well, I'm thinking about doing communications. He's like, well, you know what their best major is up there, right? I was like, yeah. He's like, not getting players drafted in Major League Baseball.
He didn't say that to you.
I swear he did.
Wow.
You know what? You know where I went? Not to
the other school.
To the other school.
Wow.
And, well, yeah, but thanks. That's probably the best one. All right, so we're taking 4 bets tonight. And actually, you know what? We're going to do this now. It's the first day of the month. I wrote my speech. I really wanted to read it.
Oh, here we go.
No podium?
No,
Here
but I
we
don't
go.
need a podium.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ew,
Let's hear this.
All right.
Are we still in a recount, though?
No, we're not
Not a
in a
hanging
recount.
chad
Stop inventing
situation.
stuff, Al Gore.
Oh, look, I mean, I won the Booster Club the most money, so it's fine. I feel great about it.
What do they
Yeah,
say?
you lost the month.
It feels great.
Blank
I got a lot of
can't-
people who
blank
reached
can't
out to me
success,
yesterday. He's like, hey,
success.
man, you're the real winner, but we feel bad for Jake.
Yeah, nobody reached out and said that. That was his
About 7.
That was his therapist trying to
Fine,
get
you're
him
safe
to
here.
jump
Trust me.
off
Go
the
ahead,
Empire
bud.
State Building. Here's what we got. Y'all ready? Can I get my speech?
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
The term champion is defined as a person who has surpassed all rivals or competition. Today, I stand before you having done just that. It came down to the last bet, but adversity reveals character. And to quote our new partner at the Daily Wire, Jordan Peterson, I slayed my dragon. I may be a Scorpio, but the month of August is mine. I would like to take the time to congratulate Blaine, David, and the prodigy they call Baby Cone. You guys tried really hard. I also want to thank my fiance, Reed, our dogs, Mowgli, Millie, and Mia, and of course, our 3-legged cat with a heart of gold, Molly. Without your support, I would have never gotten to the top. To the Booster Club and our audience, you guys are the best, and I'm honored to be your champion. Football's here. It's going to get wild. But no, I'll be right here, fighting tooth and nail for all of us.
Oh, man.
Never forget, it's not the size of the dog in the fight,
Hurry up.
but the size of the fight in the dog.
God, that was
Are you clapping for that
trash.
speech?
Yeah, that's
I'll
right.
clap for it, but
Yeah,
I'll clap
that's
for it.
right.
There you go.
That's right. Champ
you wanna
is
know
here.
What kind of 3D chess I'm playing here?
Ugh.
Just tell you what team did you need to win the month?
Don't try and.
What team did you need?
You're
to
not going to
win?
mental gymnastics me.
Who won the game?
The Braves did,
The Braves won.
and they almost.
And as a Braves fan, I won.
Well, as a Braves fan, I won and won. Can I just say this though? I was sweating bullets last night. All right. Thank good. I'm watching the Dodgers Mets because it came down literally to the 233rd bet.
Well, you didn't even read our picks while you were up there.
I know. I got a little excited.
Sat back down.
Big me guy.
Well, it's my time to shine.
Big me guy.
So last night, I need the Braves to win, to hit my bet and win the month. 2-0 the whole game. Kyle Wright has got 17 wins on the year, which is 2 more than Scott Frost has in his whole coaching career at Nebraska. That's neither here nor there. That was just funny anecdote. Thought about yesterday. He's shoving. They bring in A.J. Minter. Needed good A.J. Minter. Got him in the 8th. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Struck out and just absolutely shoved one down Charlie Blackmon's throat, like to get the 3rd out of the 8th. 9th inning. Braves are up 3-0. Kenley Jansen comes in. Instantly worried. Gets 2 quick outs. 2 of the quickest outs you've ever seen ever. 3-0. Top of the 9th. Nobody on base. I've got the tweet written, but I haven't hit send yet because I'm not going to jinx myself. So he gives up a single, nice hard single, ground ball on the left, runner on first. Next guy comes up, hits an absolute tank with 2 outs to make it 3-2. So I'm starting to look around a little bit. Now I'm getting nervous. Now I'm a little nervy. Next guy goes 3-0. Battles back. 3-1 pitch was a ball. They called a strike. We got a little ground out. Dansby tried to blow the throw, but Matt Olson scooped it. Braves won. The month's mine. Feel good about it.
God, cool story, dude. Just
Nice.
wasted 3 minutes of my life.
Great.
All right, we got some
Well,
Visitor
you've
Club.
wasted 28 years of mine.
Guys, you got some. I'm glad you got my age right. I appreciate it.
No.
All right, let's go to
wiki.
M. Hutton. He said, no, let's go Stephen Moore first. He says, Jake, why did you take off your cat's leg?
I didn't take off a cat's leg. It was a barn cat that Reed found. Her leg was so badly mutilated. I don't know what happened. She got in a fight with a grizzly bear or something. They took her to the vet. They amputated it, and we took her home. She's been great ever since. So the only thing is she's been gaining a lot of weight lately,
Good
and
for her.
it's not good for a 3-legged cat, but I don't know how to make my cat exercise. What do I do? Like, what I just...
Tough, man.
Just buy a bunch of mice and put them out in the backyard? I can't take her on walks. What is this, India? I can't do that.
All right. Do you want to say what picks
Yeah, I'm going to
you're
read the
taking?
picks.
I mean,
Here's what I got. Pittsburgh, -7. Purdue, +3.5. Purdue TTP, over 24.5. And give me the West Virginia Pitt, over 51.5. Not feeling super great about the West Virginia Pitt over, but something about Graham Harrell and scoring points. I really feel it's a 34-21 type game, something like that. I think Pitt's going to be able to score. We will put out a graphic that have the odds as well after the show.
okay, I like it. I also want Purdue +3.5, -115. How about Purdue Penn State over at 50.5, -145? I'm thinking 27-24. What do you think, Blaine? You like that?
Yeah.
Oklahoma State, Central Michigan, first half under at 31. I think we come out, we play good defense first. We figure it out, we fill out the opening game of the season. That's at -120. And then West Virginia, +4 in the first half, -105. It's the backyard brawl. It's not friendly. Right? Rivalry game.
Yeah.
Keep it close in the first half.
First
if
game.
Pitt blows it out in the second half, so be it. Keep it close in the first half, +4. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it's very early, feeling each other out.
Maybe JT Daniels slings it around. Maybe Blaine's right about him. +4. Let's go.
All right, let's go. West -195 alternative spread. Give me Purdue -2.5. That'll be a dog bet. Give me Penn State, Purdue under 53.5. I mean, I'm liking the 27-24. I think it's going to be a 51-52 point game. Give me Oklahoma State, Central Michigan University under 58.5. Oklahoma State defense, let's show up, baby.
So Purdue, you're not even taking a money line. You're going to go ahead and take a -2.
I love where Blaine's head's at right now. I'm not going to lie. I love where his head's at. I tell you one, too, that's interesting to me. Tonight, go ahead. Run your clip right here, Coney. The
Which one is
the
it?
coach getting ran into.
Oh, the coach. Yeah, let's watch this.
This is great.
This could be a not top play, but I'm still going to consider it a top play just because of this coach's good attitude and his team's playing physical.
Yeah, you got to love it.
Being physical. Run this.
Go and run. Yeah.
With the amount of experience that you guys do bring back, just how do you feel about this group and just their chances to go out there and compete this season?
Well, I mean, the expectation.
Oh, no. That happens
22
a
so
lot.
embarrassed, dog.
Man.
That happens a lot.
Yeah, that happens way more than what you think. I do want to say a little parlay that I tweeted out yesterday. Purdue -2.5. Louisiana Tech over 9.5 for the first half. And the third one, I believe I took I've got to look at it. I tweeted it out. I think I took Pittsburgh -9. So that's like plus 846, 10 to win like 125, 130, something like that. A little just sneaky parlay if you want to throw $10 out there.
I like it.
Good time. But do we have a little Aaron Judge action?
We'll save that one.
Let's save that.
We'll save that one. We'll save that one.
Save Brett Favre.
Blaine, you got a poll or what?
Who won this game? Who's going to win this game, Purdue or Penn State?
Coney, you go first this time.
It's in the 50s. I think it's tight. I think the Booster Club, I can just feel them right now. I'll say I think they think Penn State 53%.
I'm going to say they think Purdue wins.
Okay.
Penn State, 51%.
Wow, dude, that was
You got to be dialed into the Booster Club.
You are.
The Booster Club bet against me yesterday, and they happen to be right, but it's a new month.
That's right. The Booster Club did call me winning yesterday.
It's September. It's a new month.
It is.
I want better energy from the Booster Club. That's a good way to start it.
That is a good way to start it. It is September. Oh, God, I love September.
It is September.
You know
Fall.
what that means? It means fall.
Fall.
I'm so excited. So make sure, hey, in the comments as well, drop your best bet from tonight. We're going to go back and look at them. All right, we're going to do a tally, and we're going to see who really knows. I also sent out the Booster Club Bets tweet this morning. Go check it out, Jake Crane _ Go. Make sure you are following at Crane Company as well, both these guys and all of our social media. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Enjoy your college football watching tonight.
Finally.
And you're welcome on the money, finally. And like the chances of JT Daniel outplaying Keaton Slovis, we're gone.